Hey guys, so I know it's been like a while, almost 2 weeks, since I made a video last, but here's the thing. I haven't really felt up to making a video, more or less because I have been preoccupied with just about everything that's been going on as far as the election is concerned, and I've been listening to the news every day, and it's my own fault really, but the other thing is, it's when I get distracted fairly easily. I have ADHD. Didn't really know that until fairly recently, but when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with ADD, and a friend of mine who was diagnosed with ADD as an adult said they changed it from ADD to ADHD. I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not, but since I have ADD I had ADD when I was a kid, if they did change it to ADHD, then that means I have ADHD. I have a friend with ADHD who says that I exhibit all the same behaviors that she does, and she has ADHD. So my mind works the same as her. It's really interesting because we've connected on a really, really great level as far as that's concerned. So, it's nice to talk to other people who have a mind like mine, and everything. So what's been happening is just regular stuff, man. I trucked across the United States last week. I trucked across the United States this week. I'm in Maryland right now, waiting to get unloaded. We're at the Costco. I think they're finally unloading the truck that's in the door that I'm supposed to be in. But we're at the Costco in Monrovia, Maryland, and this is kind of a nightmare. So, let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I'm pulled in forwards into this spot, and as you can see from the mirror here, back there, that's not the truck that I'm going into. I'm going into door 124, and if you look in that mirror, you can see that white truck that's in door 124. I gotta go in that door. Alright, so basically we're just sitting here waiting to get in that door, and that's pretty much it. So I thought, since I have some time, maybe I'll make a video and actually reach out to everybody and say hello again and let you know that I'm alive and well and doing just fine. Health-wise, I'm fine. Haven't had any real problems with taking my medication on a regular basis. I'm not feeling any ill effects. So hoping things are going to change. You know, maybe there'll be some other changes fairly soon, but specifically weight loss. But so far, not a lot has happened as far as that's concerned. So, what have I been distracted by? Just different things. Been wanting to write my book some more. I've been trying to write a story for the trolley. We're doing a Christmas thing. We were going to do the Holiday Express, but with the COVID numbers going up, I pulled out of that this past Monday and decided that I couldn't, in good conscience, justify going and being a part of the Holiday Express and having people on board the car and everything. And they were already thinking about canceling it anyway. We were hoping the numbers wouldn't go up. We were hoping people were going to pay attention to the mask mandates and everything, but of course that didn't happen. So we're pulling back on that. We're saying we're not going to do it anymore, and we're trying to find something else that we can do Christmas-wise to kind of give people, to kind of reach out to the community and everything. So we've been thinking about how to do that. Been thinking about doing like a virtual tour or whatever of it, and if that happens, I'll make it available so that you guys can see that or whatever, because I think hopefully you guys would enjoy it. But you know, that's pretty much it. I've been writing a story. I thought about writing a story from Stone's perspective. Stone is the cat, and to give you kind of a little background on that, we have two cats at the trolley barn. One is Stone, or we had two cats at the trolley barn. And we've always had cats at the trolley barn since about 1992. And so what happened was there was a streetcar that came in. It was an Interurban car, and if I have pictures of it, I'll pop it up here so you can see it. There was an Interurban car, a 332, what was originally called Morning Star, I think, or Blue Bonnet, and I can't remember which one it was called. I think it's now called Morning Star, and was an Interurban car that ran for the Northern Texas Traction, ran from Cleveland to Fort Worth, and from Fort Worth to DFW, and or not DFW, but to Dallas, basically from Fort Worth to Dallas. And so, and then it ran back. And there was another Interurban line that ran called the Texas Electric Railway that ran from Denison all the way down to Waco. And this was back in 1912, 1915. I think you could get on a car in Denison, and in Denison you would get, when you got on the car, you could ride down to Dallas. I think either change cars. Sometimes they had a through car, but you would change cars and get on a car going to Waco, and you could ride all the way to Waco. It was under wire. It was all electric the whole way, so good for the environment, and would run 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. When the automobile became very prevalent in the United States, or during that time, about 1948, they shut down because people had cars. The roads were much better by that point. And if you can get in a car and go somewhere and not, and get there when you wanted to get there and go when you wanted to go instead of waiting for a schedule, why would you get on the Interurban? And so that's what a lot of people did. And of course, we didn't, as a society, understand at that time what the damage really was as far as, the carbon monoxide coming out of the back of an automobile, or the carbon monoxide that was being done by the industrial complex at that time. So, now we look back on that and we go, what did we lose? And of course, we lost, something that was very great. As for, anyway, to go back to the car, so it was originally what was called a box motor. And a box motor was basically a car that handled self-propelled baggage car, if you're into railroading at all. It was a self-propelled baggage car, and it basically handled lighter than carload freight, or less than carload freight. And which was like small packages and stuff that you could like order, and it would go on there and it would go to the next town or whatever and be dropped off. And it could also pull some freight cars behind it. So they were fairly powerful, had quite a bit of torque for being electrically powered and having 100 horsepower motors. It was all about 400 horsepower, I think, and they could pull a little bit of freight. There's a great video out there that you might be able to get somewhere. I think it's about the Texas Electric Railway. It's done by Steve Goin, Goin. And if you can find it, it's a wonderful DVD. I have a copy of that, and he's got a copy of, he's got another one that's called Dallas Railway and Terminal, which was the streetcar company that operated Dallas, and then the Texas Electric was the Interurban company. And both of these videos came from Johnny Myers, who's the local historian for all things electric in Dallas. So, but to get back to the cats, what happened was this car got rescued from a farm down near, is it Crescent? Near Crescent, Texas. It got brought up to Dallas and started a restoration on it. As MATA kind of changed its focus over the years to being more of a transit agency and less of a museum, the car kind of fell on the back burner and became a project that the MATA was no longer interested in doing, and it eventually moved over to the Railroad Museum. So it's the Museum of the American Railroad now has it. I was involved with the project for a little while. I got to paint it, which was really cool. But anyway, it kind of drifted off in a different direction. So it's now over at the Museum of the American Railroad. I still have some ties to the Museum of the American Railroad, but I don't get to go over there often and do anything. I should, though. I really should. Anyway, when the car came in, before the car moved, there was a mother cat with her kittens that lived inside the car. And she was busy trying to get all the kittens out before they moved the car. And they thought that she had gotten all the kittens out. They were giving her time to get the kittens out. They thought she'd gotten all the kittens out. Turns out she hadn't. She'd actually forgotten to. So when the car arrived at the trolley barn in Dallas, they found two cats inside the Interurban car. And so they nursed them to the point that they could eat, regular food on their own. And they named them Sherman and Hanley. So Sherman was a stop on the Texas Electric Railway, and Hanley was a stop on the North Texas Traction, which is over close to Fort Worth. And if you search Hanley, Texas on Google Maps, you'll still find it. And those cats lasted for probably a good 15 years, I think, in the barn. So 92 until sometime around 2000, I want to say 2010, maybe, somewhere in there. So they lived a good long life, and Sherman and Hanley both have been cremated, and they're saved on one of the people that's been involved for 30 plus years with the trolley barn. So, when Hanley died, Sherman died first, Hanley died second. So when Hanley died, we didn't have cats at the trolley barn for a little while. We missed having cats around. One of the people that worked at the trolley barn, he had a cat, and his cats had kittens. So he brought 2 kittens down, and they were basically twins. And so we thought about what to name them. We named them Stone and Webster. So Stone and Webster are named after the Green Dragon 186, which is a Stone and Webster car built in 1913. And so Webster disappeared. We never did figure out where Webster went. I think he ended up at an apartment somewhere near the trolley barn, and eventually moved with his new owner away somewhere else, because every now and then we'd see him come back, I think, to visit with his brother. So Stone, on the other hand, decided he loved the trolley barn, stayed at the trolley barn. He never got kidnapped, or he never found another place to live. And he stayed forever and a day. Stone is getting into his teens now, for sure. He's probably about 12 years old. 11 or 12, somewhere in there. He's about the same age that Trixie is. And I actually got Trixie and Stone. I got Trixie around the same time that the barn got Stone. Not from the same litter, from 2 different, separate litters on separate sides of the city. But, so anyway, so I got Trixie about that time, and the barn got Stone and Webster at that time. Stone has been the barn cat for some time, and wonderful cat, very loves people, gets along with everybody. So he's kind of the MC of the barn. You know, everybody comes. There are people that came to see him before COVID. There were people that came to see him, you know, just to visit with Stone, and there were people that, you know, we'd have charters and we'd bring the car in, everybody go to the bathroom, and they would ooh and ah over Stone and everything, and then they would get back on the car and go back out and do everything. So I started thinking about a story that maybe captures the spirit of the Holiday Express. And so it would basically be from Stone's perspective. So and I've written probably a page so far where it just talks about, like, how the crew's getting ready for the day, for the Holiday Express or whatever, and everything, and about, you know, how everybody's, like, jovial and getting along, and you know, it's kind of a more perfect world than it probably is, but, you know, it's a story, so I get to write it however I want. And I think, haven't decided if I'm going to get Stone out on the car with the Holiday Express and really go through the whole Holiday Express and really experience it through Stone's eyes, or if he's just going to be in the barn and experience the streetcar going and staying at the barn. So it would be out of character for Stone to get on the streetcar and ride the streetcar. He hates riding on the streetcar. And I tried a couple times to see if I could get him to go around, and he just would have none of it. So we got up to McKinney Plaza, and he almost immediately freaked out and jumped out of the car and took off back to the barn. So that was the one and only time that I tried to get him on the streetcar to go with us. So anyway, so I've been writing that story, hoping that I'd be able to get it written, and maybe that would be our thing that we do this year instead. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. I need some time to get it done. I need to call Paula, who works at the trolley barn, and talk to her about it and see if that's something that she's up to doing. But anyway, that's part of what's been distracting me. The election's been distracting me. Let's see. A couple other things have come up that just keeping me busy. And with my ADHD, it's kind of like, you know, when you're distracted by something, it's you're distracted. You know, you're good and solid distracted, and that's the thing. And you're distracted for a couple weeks, and then you go back to something else. So anyway, I'm gonna try to start making more videos again. About what, I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, we're here hoping that door's gonna get empty soon, and that we'll be able to get into it and get unloaded and get something and head back to Texas so I can go home for Thanksgiving. So anyway, that's it. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody if you don't hear from me before Thanksgiving. And until then, you know the drill. Keep your shiny side up. See you guys down the road.